Okay, what is up, you guys? Today I want to talk to you about a little bit about my life story actually and how I became an email marketer and actually got my first $1,000 email marketing copywriting class. Because, you can look around on YouTube, you can look around on Twitter or X and find a whole bunch of strategies that might not really apply or work for a lot of people. But I really want to simplify what I did to get my first $1,000 per month copywriting client. You don't need, how do I put it, like extra fancy skills. You don't need a huge depth of experience, I would say. Um, and if you have high school writing abilities, you can essentially replicate what I did. And to give you a little bit of backstory on how I got into this, so in 2022, I started working as an email marketer at a marketing agency here locally in town. And back before then, I was actually even working at FedEx. I was a truck driver for FedEx. But pretty much what I did is I leveraged some skills from personal projects that I made to get that first job. So what I would do as an email marketer at my first agency is we had a design team. They would put together resourcing and materials from the client, put it into like an email template, and we would charge them for what is called our billable rate. Okay. Our billable rate, what I found out was $250. And after I saw what our billable rate was, I was like, okay, well, if they're charging $250 for this per hour, then I should be able to compete for this in a way if I just use my copywriting ability and direct response marketing skills, which I'll talk about. That be easy to develop if you just put in a little bit of work, whether that's a couple hours a day for maybe just a month or two. You probably don't even need that much. If you're someone who has a high school writing ability, I guarantee you can pretty much start out making money with copywriting. So anyway, I find out our billable rate, which was $250 an hour. I think to myself, well, if they're charging $250 an hour and my goal is to get to $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, then I should be able to compete for that if I'm willing to put in just like 10 hours a week, right? Because that would be like like a 4x in competitiveness if they're charging $250 an hour. So I think to myself, I could probably go out and do this on my own. And I thought to myself, what type of client should I really start with? And listen, there's a lot of big mistakes that I made, which I'm going to walk you through, which I'll tell you how to avoid these. But you really want to work around some of these roadblocks and just get to that success a little bit faster. And think about, if you're doing copywriting and email marketing for a client, essentially, who are you marketing to? And I realized that if you are doing email marketing and copywriting, you're marketing to people with existing customers. And I know that sounds really simple, but when you're selling a marketing service, you're thinking about it through the lens of, is this a new customer source of traffic, or is this a returning source of customers for this business? So if you're doing email marketing and copywriting, you're basically marketing to their existing customers. And if you want to maximize your success in just ensuring your probability of having success with going out and getting clients is at its highest, you have to think about what business type relies super heavily on returning customers instead of new customers. So think about it like this. Would a lawyer, let's use that example. Would a lawyer rely heavily on returning customers, or would they rely on new customers specifically? The answer for that is, of course, new customers, right? So they would not be a good fit for doing email marketing or copywriting. Now let's think of another business type. Say, for instance, we want to do a chiropractor business. If you go to a chiropractor business, their whole business model is about getting you to come back 10 times, 20 times, get you on some sort of program so that way they're getting your recurring monthly revenue because they need to market to returning customers. So in the beginning, I was starting to send out manual outreach emails to all these different businesses without really understanding, okay, is this business needing more new customers or trying to keep their returning customers? And after I kind of made that realization and think, okay, well, I need to adjust the niche that I'm targeting in order for people to actually be receptive to my cold emails. After I was able to adjust that, I started seeing a whole lot better success. And I really honed in on my core ICP, which I want to show you. And if you don't know what ICP is, that's basically fancy marketing talk for ideal client profile. And eventually I settled on the business type of med spas. So if you think about it, med spas are really in that same category of chiropractors, because if you think about it, if someone is doing a hydrofacial treatment or they're doing some kind of skincare program, really their best customers are going to be the ones who are coming in for 5 treatments, 10 treatments. They're not really the type of customers who just come in once and then never see them again. So anyway, I really honed in on that target ICP and focused in my offer so that way it's super low risk to the client and I kind of take on a little bit of that risk, even though it's not that much. So this is the landing page that I led with. I'll make 3 marketing emails and automate your client appointment reminders for $100. So you don't want to do it for free. You want to have them put a little bit of skin in the game, but I'll refund you $200 for wasting your time if they don't make your money back. That was the approach that I went with. And I started reaching out specifically to med spa owners only. And I led with this landing page. And after about 2 weeks of automated emails, which I'll show you guys in a future video how to essentially put together some email automation to blow up your cold outreach. There's ways so you can get around not doing it manually. But after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks of adjusting my approach where I focused in on my offer, I stopped doing things manually and I only focused on med spa specifically. Think about it like you remove all the risk from the client. You're essentially proving to them through like a paid trial that if you don't make your money back, then you have total assurance, I refund you your money. And it's just a really easy foot in the door strategy to get your first email marketing copywriting client. So after adjusting my approach, it was so funny. I got this guy who was in North Texas. He was a med spa owner. He really took a liking to, I guess, my approach, because in some ways it's a little bit ballsy to go out and start marketing to people just cold outreach like that. But anyway, he hopped on a sales call and we agreed to a $1,000 per month retainer. So I was writing marketing emails about hydrofacials, about IPL photofacials, and essentially focusing in on, I talked about my personal ICP, which was going after med spas, but then I had to learn all about his customers, what they're looking to solve with or essentially like why are they going to his business? And that is to clear up their skin issues, improve their confidence, different things like that. So after about like a 45-minute sales call, I just talk him through the process. I show him a writing sample even. And he's like, okay, no worries, let's do it. And so the whole business, the whole way I just operated my business was a shared Google Doc between me and him. And I would write content for him. He would go in and make edits. And then I would load it up into his Klaviyo account and send it for him. So Really, guys, if you're kind of struggling to get your first client, it almost comes down to one of these handful of reasons, which is either you're doing manual outreach, that's the first thing. Number two, you haven't really focused in on the right ICP, which is people who need recurring customers, recurring revenue, if you're selling copywriting, that is. And then the third thing is essentially not just having too broad of an offer and not really focusing in on one easy strategy that's going to get your foot in the door to get your first customer. So even though if you're leading with something like a trial, after that trial, if everything goes well, you can negotiate a $1,000, $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month type of arrangement with a client. And that was what happened for me in my personal circumstance. And it was actually really cool. We had a good relationship. He had like a large TikTok page. It was one of the biggest in the world for his niche, the med spa niches. And yeah, we built a really good relationship, and he actually gave me a video testimonial that I used to leverage for my next job working in an agency. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover. If you have any specific thoughts or anything you want to reach out about, definitely just comment down below or message me privately too, and just let me know and I can help you. So that's it, guys.